What up, y'all? It's your boy Neff. How's it going? I'm back. And today we are let's jump right into things. I don't feel like stalling. I don't feel like playing no games. I don't feel like telling you about the weather. We're going to jump right on into this. And today I will be reviewing Blade Runner. I just decided that whenever I talk about like the title of the film, I'm going to do this big, nasty, groggy man voice. I did it with Mother, and I think I did it with It, so now I'm doing it with Blade Runner. Alright, so we're going to get right into things. Blade Runner, starring my dude, Ryan Gosling. Let's talk about him just for a second. I think he's one of the best premiere actors right now. Between Lars and the Real Girl and Half Nelson, I think that guy is the second coming to Sean Penn. And Sean Penn is, I think, not only is he my favorite actor, but I think he's the best actor of all time. But Ryan Gosling, I feel like if he plays his card right and diverse his roles, he could be on a trajectory of Sean Penn's. But anyway, so let's get into Blade Runner. So Blade Runner. Let's do a number scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna have to say Blade Runner is a 6, maybe 6.5. Let's talk about the original briefly. Well, okay, let's talk about the film. So the film stars, so apparently in the future, I'll just make it real simple. Robots are being hunted down. Older robots are being hunted down by new robots. And a robot who hunts another robot is called a Blade Runner. That's basically it. Okay, so the original Harrison Ford, I saw when I was in grad school. It came out in the 80s, but I saw it like 6 or 7 years ago. And I gotta say, like, I wasn't that impressed. I was more impressed with the fact that Harrison Ford's career has allowed him to do Blade Runner, which was, regardless of whether I like it or not, it's a big film. Star Wars and Indiana Jones, like one guy has been in like 3 awesome science fiction franchises. The original, though, I didn't really feel. I don't even remember it actually, but I did see it. So now we're talking about the sequel. Well, it's not a sequel, it's a continuation. First of all, the movie's 3 hours long. Way too long. Way too long. I have a thing where I say that films, it suffers from an identity crisis. There we go. The film thinks it's a 3-hour long film, but really it's a 90-minute story. And most stories I think are 90 minutes. The only films that are beyond 90 minutes, in my opinion, are films where you are reverting back to history, where we're talking about a story like Lincoln or the Civil War or World War II, because we're embracing a moment that's very important to society, or a film that takes us into a new world. And yes, Blade Runner is a different world, but it's not so much new because it's still LA, it's still the United States. Things look different, but I mean a new world like Star Wars and Avatar. So unless a film brings us to a new world that we have no recognition of and have not seen, or it's not a historical film like a Gandhi or an Abraham Lincoln, your film should only be about 100 minutes at the most. Anyway, cool. So the film is 3 hours long, which is too long. Every scene, it could have been cut down. Like they just take too long. So that's one gripe. My biggest gripe overall with the film is, if you know me, you know I'm a twist guy. I like a good surprise ending. And I'm going to let you know, this has spoilers. So apparently, Harrison Ford and the lead actress from the original have a kid. And I'm so sick of Hollywood with the Luke, I am your father moments. Basically, it's like these kids are left behind in stories and they don't know that they're the kids of powerful people. And I think Star Wars really started that. And it's like, okay, already, you had a kid, you didn't raise the kid is powerful just like you, in a nutshell. So basically, Ryan Gosling thinks he's the son of Harrison Ford in the entire film. One important aspect of the film is that he goes to meet this woman who works for the enemy, essentially, the robot company, to see if his memories are real, that he really had those memories, or if they're manufactured. Ryan Gosling thinks they're manufactured because he's a robot. As it turns out, he is told that his memories are authentic. Later on in the film, we find out that the memory was manufactured and it is not him. He is not the child of Harrison Ford. But the film is bad because the woman who informs him of the memories lies to us twice. She tells us that she was born away, exiled, not exiled, but born in the bubble. She hasn't had contact with human beings, and that Ryan Gosling's memories are real. As it turns out, the memories are hers of when she was in society and had to be removed. And that's supposed to be the surprise ending. I know I rush over things, but if you see the film, you'll know what I mean. But for me, that doesn't work because for a good twist, for a good surprise ending, you are not allowed to lie to people, to the viewer. And I'm going to explain. In Sixth Sense, which I think it's not the best twist film. I think it's the second best film of all time to Vertigo, but it's done as if it is. It's done better than any film. It's even done better than Vertigo. But Vertigo, for other reasons, why it's the best twist film. But I'm gonna go with The Sixth Sense. The Sixth Sense really works as a good twist, and the twist in Sixth Sense is that Bruce Willis is dead. He's a ghost. But the twist in Sixth Sense, the reason why Sixth Sense twist works so well is because Bruce Willis never says, he never ever says, I survived the gunshot. No, we are led to believe he survived based on the dynamics of his character, based on what the character is doing in his actions. That's what a film is supposed to do. Now, had Bruce Willis lied to us and said, hey, I was shot, but I survived it, and it turns out he didn't survive it, then the film is lying to us. You do not have the right to lie to me and then say, I fooled you. You did not fool me. You lied to me. And because you lied to me, you're not allowed to say that you fooled me. Okay, now back to Blade Runner. Blade Runner, the woman tells us that she never lived outside of captivity, to my understanding, and she tells Ryan Gosling that his memories are real, if I remember correctly too. She is lying to us. Well, she could have been not telling the truth, not avoiding the truth, which is still a lie. She could have said the memory is real, but I believe she said the memory is real, but I don't believe she said it was his. Because as it turns out, because he's a robot, the memory was implanted in his head to make him think that it was real. There's two types of lies. There's lies when you're saying something happened that didn't happen, and another type of lying is not telling me everything that happened. You can't withhold information and say, oh, but I just didn't tell you, but I didn't lie. That is, if you are withholding information, you are still lying. In the sense of, if I directly ask you something and you withhold to tell me, then you are lying. Now with The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis didn't tell us that whether he survived or not, but no one asked him either. So the film, so back to Blade Runner, the film blatantly lies to us. It tells us that she says that she was born in that bubble. She never had any contact with humans, which is a flat out lie, because in the memory she has contact with humans, and I just had that put a sour taste in my mouth. But Blade Runner does something very unique. When she watches the memory in Ryan Gosling's head and it's hers, she tears. Now, that is a very strong emotional response, and we're led to wonder, why is she crying? I think that kind of gives it away that, wow, this memory is important to her. But it goes past us. It doesn't really hit us because earlier in the film, the villain, who's the robot, she's crying as well at certain signature moments. And that leads us to believe that, well, these robots kind of have an emotionality, even though they're, again, robots, which is done very well. And the villain, by the way, is the underboss. They do the Star Wars thing, whereas, remember in Star Wars how there was the Emperor and there's Darth Vader? Now, the Emperor was the overall head, but he wasn't the villain. Not until Empire Strikes Back. For most of the film, Darth Vader's the villain. Only because we're interacting with Darth Vader more. He's making decisions. He has actions. He's doing things. That's a true villain and antagonist. The villain can respond to, take orders from someone else, but if he is doing all the action, he in fact is the villain, and that's what Blade Runner does. Jared Leto's character is giving all the orders, but it's the woman who's doing his underboss. She is doing all the action, so which makes her the villain. And I thought that was really done. And plus she has the final battle with Ryan Gosling too, so that's also proves that she's the villain. But anyway, so that's my wrap up of Blade Runner. The film is very problematic. It's very long. They lie to me. And for that, I give it a 6. Even though I love Ryan Gosling, the film could have been a little bit better. But yeah, but still go see it. And I don't know, maybe you might think something different. I don't know. That's just how I feel. All right. Thank you, and peace. Produced by Slide Media.